Want to listen to radio? It gotta be Teamset 94.1 FM. Your entertainment station.
The time is 3 o'clock.
Teamset 94.1, the news.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Teamset FM News. My name is OLAMIDE TEJUOSO. President Muhammadu Buhari is in a closed-door meeting with Chief of Army Staff Tukur Buratai at the State House, Abuja. Though the agenda of the meeting is unknown at the time of filing this report, it is believed to be centered on ongoing military operations in the country, particularly in the northeast and west. It will be recalled that President Buhari, in a recent meeting with service chiefs and other security heads, had warned he would no longer tolerate escalation of insecurity. He frowned at lack of synergy among the security heads and told them to work together to bring myriads of security challenges bedeviling the country to a halt. Last Saturday, it was reported bandits allegedly killed 16 soldiers and injured 30 in an ambush around Shimfida in Jibia local government area of Katsina. Yesterday evening, tens of persons were also reported killed in a Kaduna community. In the meantime, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garuba Shehu, yesterday evening took on critics of President Muhammadu Buhari, particularly in the media. He said the authors of the media content suggesting that Buhari was not in charge of his administration when only endorsing the claims by the opposition. Shehu said this in a statement he made available to journalists titled "President Buhari's Critics Should Appreciate Due Process." He argues that the administration was the first to point out the obvious embarrassment that potential acts of wrongdoing by the EFCC leadership could cause. Shehu wondered if critics expected Buhari to cover up the suspected scandals by not ordering audits and investigations so that they can accuse him of cover-up later. The presidential aide said to do a cover-up and not order audits and investigation as the president did would amount to a historic betrayal of the mandate and the faith placed in him by Nigerians, adding that Buhari's integrity, uprightness and probity were intact and well known. He cited the fact that the economic community of West African states, African Union and the international community at large recognized the president as champion of the anti-corruption fight in Africa. In his 5 years in office, Shehu said there is not a single charge of corruption against Buhari, while saying that this information is not a viable option for opposition. The presidential aide insisted that the Buhari administration has done nothing to warrant the criticisms. He, however, admitted that the war against corruption in the country is currently at crossroads, urging all Nigerians to join hands with the administration to prosecute the war successfully. The chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Niger Delta, Olubunmi Ojo, has excused himself from the hearing into the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, following accusation of conflict of interest. The lawmaker stepped aside for Thomas Ireitomi to continue the investigation into mismanagement of funds by the commission. It will be recalled that the acting managing director of the commission, Professor Kemi Bradikuma Pondei, last week staged a walkout on the committee, stating that Mr. Ojo is a man of interest in the ongoing investigation. The committee again last Friday summoned both Professor Pondei and Senator Goswi Akpabio, the Minister for Niger Delta Affairs, following revelations by the former acting managing director of the commission, Joy Nonie. Meanwhile, the acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Professor Kimi Bradikumo Ponde, fainted today during an investigative hearing at the National Assembly. Ponde collapsed where he was seated as members of the House Committee on NDDC grilled him. The committee had grilled him for about 45 minutes before he passed out. Ponde has been rushed out of the conference room 231, venue of the investigative hearing on illegal spending and mismanagement of funds in the commission. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, however, stayed behind. Members of the committee are still debating whether to suspend the hearing or not. Civil society organizations, CSOs, and community representatives from Niger Delta State have urged President Muhammadu Buhari to sack the management of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. They also charged him to order the prosecution of all persons formerly and currently indicted in the mismanagement of funds. A communique after the virtual meeting was released today by Peace Agbo Communications Officer, Social Development Integrated Center. They declared that the NDDC had become a cesspool of corruption. Attendees regretted that those previously indicted were never prosecuted in a court of law nor made to refund misappropriated funds. The National Assembly was also accused of failing in its oversight function of conducting regular assessment of the work of the agency. The CSOs called for composition of a new board and a new crop of principal managers with a directive to operate an open-door policy to promote transparency and public accountability. They suggested that a global memorandum of understanding template be adopted to promote a public-private partnership approach. In the meantime, Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State has warned members of the All Progressives Congress across Nigeria to be vigilant. He insisted enemies of the party were behind banditry and other general insecurity in the country. The governor made the declaration in Katsina yesterday during an interactive meeting with ward and local government chairmen of the All Progressives Congress in the state. He declared that most of the bandits and Boko Haram attacks facing the northern parts of the country are sponsored by some politicians who are enemies of the present APC government at both federal and state levels. Forty COVID-19 patients have been discharged from isolation centers in Oyo State. The state governor, Seyi Makinde, confirmed the developments today. Makinde also said the state recorded 61 new cases of the infection, adding that the state so far has 2,167 confirmed cases of the infection. The Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Lautech main campus, Ogbomoso, seems to have turned into a car lot where unregistered vehicles are paraded. Journalists observed that there are about 10 unregistered exotic vehicles parked at different locations on the university's campus. The presence of the unregistered vehicles, which included jeeps and cars, has been worrying some workers of the institutions who are raising questions on the ownership of the vehicles. According to some of the workers who spoke with journalists under condition of anonymity, the worries were born out of the fact that the vehicles have spent about 2 months in the institution without anybody driving them out. They insinuated that the vehicles might belong to some students of the institution who are into cyber fraud, commonly known as Yahoo Yahoo. Some of the vehicles are covered with leather, but the public relations officer of the institution, Mr. Lekon Fadeyi, said the vehicles belong to some workers of the institution. A 27-year-old man, Friday Asukwo, allegedly shot his friend identified as Kingsley Arino, with a pump-action gun over 1,000 naira debt. According to report, the incident happened last Friday after a disagreement ensued over the debt Arino owed him. The incident happened at Amaiba Oka South local government area of Anambra State last Friday afternoon. According to SP Aruna Mohammed, the State Police Command spokesperson, the culprit was immediately arrested, while the victim is already receiving treatment at Chukwuemeka Odumego Ojukwu University Teaching Hospital. And that ends Team Said FM News as edited by Afolabi Koka. The news was brought to you by OLAMIDE TEJUOSO. Good afternoon.